What if the thing wrecking your willpower has nothing to do with your willpower? In 1880, one machine took cigarette production from 4 a minute to 20,000. Every escape since has gotten faster, stronger, and closer to your hand. That's why 4 weeks without it can reset your brain, and most people never make it there. That is the argument of Dopamine Nation by Anna Lembke, the psychiatrist who runs addiction medicine at Stanford. Her patients taught her that most of us have this backwards. Here's the backwards part. You blame your discipline. Lembke blames the supply, and that machine is the proof. 4 a minute to 20,000, and it never slowed down. Her line for it is blunt. Supply has created demand, as we all fall prey to the vortex of compulsive overuse. But supply only explains the reaching. Why does more pleasure keep leaving you feeling worse? Because pleasure and pain are processed in the same part of your brain, and they work like a seesaw. Tip it toward pleasure, and your brain pushes back toward pain until it sits level again. Lembke pictures gremlins hopping onto the pain side to level you out. Repeat the hit, and the gremlins multiply. Now you need more just to feel normal, and it gives you less pleasure than before. Push far enough, and you reach the cruelest line in the book. The paradox is that hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure for its own sake, leads to anhedonia, which is the inability to enjoy pleasure of any kind. That is what the 4 weeks undo. One of Lembke's patients smoked more than a gram of cannabis a day and swore it treated her anxiety. 2 days off it, she was vomiting. That was withdrawal. 1 month clean, her anxiety was gone. It scales beyond one teenager. Depressed men who drank heavily spent 4 weeks in a hospital with no treatment except sobriety. 80% no longer met the criteria for clinical depression. That is the whole tool, but it comes with a catch. Week 2 feels miserable, and that is where most people give up and go back. Give the balance about 4 weeks, though, and the gremlins climb down. Ordinary pleasure starts to work again. Surviving those weeks is not about willpower either. You build the barrier before the craving hits. Odysseus had himself tied to the mast. Lembke's patients do it with locked cabinets, apps, and timers. In the throes of desire, there's no deciding. Then comes her most surprising advice. Press on the pain side, on purpose. Men who sat in cold water for an hour raised their dopamine 250%, and it stayed up for an hour after they climbed out. So start tonight. Pick the one escape that leaves you flattest. Put one real barrier between you and it. Then give it 4 weeks before you judge the results. One more idea is still waiting, and it is the strangest of all. Why is telling one hard truth out loud a form of medicine? The answer is in the big ideas of Dopamine Nation, free on Story Shots.